United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll make the order at 6. Making a motion to approve the agenda as published.
Second.
First by Cass, second by Shirley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Any conflict of interest declarations? Hearing none, moving on. I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as noted. Board meeting minutes for June 16th, 2025, regular board meeting, and June 2025 special board meeting. Bill listings for July 9th, 2025. Interest expense, financials for June 2025, surplus. First by Tyler, second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, before we get into the oath of office, Tyler, I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you on board and become a good friend. And I miss working with you.
But that's the truth. Thank you. I'm enjoying getting to know all of you.
Exactly. Good mind. Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Take that. Right.
That's
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Brown.
Congratulations. All right, guys, stay standing.
Are those your-
Oh, yeah, I probably should have that. Should.
Maybe you don't want.
All right. You need to raise your right hand and read it up.
I, Ty Norman of the Stanley County School District number 57-1, having been elected as school board member of the Stanley County School District number 57-1, Stanley County, South Dakota. Do solemnly swear that I will support the laws and the Constitution of the United States and the state of South Dakota to faithfully perform the duties of the school board membership.
Welcome aboard. You need to sign that. So I'll get you. Yeah. That's still pretty bad. Good care.
I'm so glad you didn't have me.
So that,
All right. The election officers, I step down and Dan, you're taking over.
All right. Where's my stuff? I'd like to open the floor for nominations for president.
Nominate Chris.
Chris, Jessica, Patty. Discussion. Discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Nay, passes. Congrats, Chris. Thank you. Back to you.
Okay.
Did I do well on my meeting?
Did great. Okay, I'd like to open the floor for nomination for vice president. Can I get a motion? Jessica,
Second.
first by Patty, second by Shirley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. All right. What's that? Oh, I see what you're saying. No, motion.
Are there any other comments?
Yeah, okay. Public comment, anybody want to talk? Okay. Moving on. Okay. Can I get a motion to designate and approve the following? All regular meetings to be held the second Wednesday of the month, beginning at 6 P.M. Central Time in the boardroom at the Parkview Auditorium, with the exception of June, which will be held Monday, June 15th, 2026. Board pay for regular board meetings will be $75 per meeting, and pay for special meetings will be $50 per meeting. The First National Bank of South Dakota as depository for cash flow, and the First National Bank of South Dakota for funds not obligated during the fiscal period. Board president, business manager, and superintendent will be authorized signatures. The business manager as the custodian of all accounts. The Capital Journal as the legal newspaper for all school board publications. Tyler Coverdale and KSB School Law as school attorney. The superintendent as the truant officer for the Stanley County School District. The superintendent and the elementary principal as representatives for the Title I program. The superintendent and the special education director as the representatives of the special education programs. The superintendent to be the authorized representative for the consolidated grants, career and technology grants and school food programs, and to authorize superintendent to file the application for school assistance in the federally affected areas, and to act as the authorized representatives of the applicant in connection with this application. The superintendent, business manager, and board president as authorized purchasing agents. The superintendent, business manager, and board president as the authorized purchasing agents for federal and state surplus property. The publishing of the fiscal year 2025-2026 staff salaries as prescribed by South Dakota codified law. The Stanley County School District join the Emergency School Bus Pact Agreement. School board resolution authorizing memberships to the South Dakota High School Activities Association.
Second.
First by Jess, second by Shirley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Can I get a motion to appoint a board member to serve as the Stanley County School District legislative liaison for the 2025-2026 school year? Last year, this was Patty Duffy. Can I get a motion first and then,
I'll make a motion for Patty.
okay, I have a first.
A second.
Okay, first by Jess, second by Shirley. Discussion, you're okay with doing it again? Awesome. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to designate a delegate for the ASBSD convention? This was me last year.
So move.
First by Shirley. Second by Jess. Discussion, I absolutely don't want to do it. I'm joking. I'll do it again.
Dang, I was like, no.
There's one convention.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Yes, if you were wondering, I stopped thinking there for a second, trying to get that motion out.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just do.
yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't work for a
My
second.
time in the combine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, can I get a motion to appoint a school board member to serve on the Stanley County Equalization Board? This was Shirley last year.
I'll make a motion to. Shirley.
First by Jess,
I'll second.
second by Ty. Any discussion? You love it?
Yeah, they never called me once.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we went to that meeting.
Oh, we did go to that meeting. Is that all it is?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Oh, fiddle-dee-dee,
So I
yeah.
can tell it meant a lot to you.
It was, we learned about the gold program.
We did
It's
learn
where
about
we
the gold
learned about
program.
that.
I thought it meant I had to tell you that you need more taxes on your house because it's worth too much money.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want that job either.
nope.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion to authorize superintendent to appoint committee members as presented? Approved by Ty. Second by Patty. Discussion. So the only change up really was you pretty much took over Tyler's role, except for buildings and grounds. Tyler was on that. We added Shirley to that. You're okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I'm just looking for the list.
It was just a couple below something.
Couple bowl or something.
Yeah, it was like
We'll catch you there.
page 112. So Shirley was put on buildings and grounds. Patty, you pretty much stayed the same. And Ty, you're on school wellness and, policy planning.
No, I think Mrs. Swanson was on wellness last year.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Norman's going to be kind enough to make us well.
Yeah, you do good. So, does anybody have any issues with those? Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Foundation,
All right. I was asked to come kind of present an update and then ask for your blessing for when we're up. I think you guys all got, hey, but just a little, what we've done last year up until this point. We've raised 30 some thousand. Some of that was one-time money, but still we raised a bunch. We did buy the impact testing, the concussion baseline test, because that wasn't in the school budget for roughly $600. I was approached from 3 or 4 parents once the weights got moved over to the weight room now. Smaller kids didn't have the weights they needed, so I talked with Brian. We ordered, what did we get, 3 or 4 sets? So that wouldn't be in our budget.
yeah, they were way short on 5.
They were, wait, yeah, and it was taking forever, and he's like, yeah, if you could get me this would be awesome, so we got that. We paid $3,500 back to the school through activity tickets through our memberships. The popcorn deal was roughly $200 back to the school. Game day programs was roughly $2,500, a little over. And then the next deal is we would like to purchase this for our kind of our bigger commitment. It's kind of a curb appeal deal. I don't know if we need a motion, but we want your guys' blessing on it. We've seen it at other schools and it's kind of something to, especially with the new track and everything coming in. And then if we get this done, we're gonna try, we would like to do it over on the elementary and high school too. And one thing about this, on the right, that's safety issue, especially in the bathroom. And then it's gonna help with heating and the sun glare coming in. So. Questions?
I think it's a great idea, particularly from the safe Redfield, if you want to.
That's, yes.
I'm an old
That's right.
peasant, old peasant. They have that on their new school and man, does it make a difference.
Yeah, it makes it pop too,
Yeah, that too.
but inside, you can't see
No.
inside per se, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. I do have one question and you may not know the answer to that. Since that faces west
Yes.
and you know how hot everything is on that side of that building. Is there any kind of a shelf life on fading or
That I don't.
disintegration?
know.
I just
But
don't
I
know.
know he uses a real,
7 years.
yeah. and
67?
what they-
Oh, I was gonna say, my God. I want that stuff for me. Okay. 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which, yeah, and on that side, it could be less
Yeah.
just because that's gonna get a beat down.
Well, it's, And I don't know that there's any other substance that's any better.
Right,
How
right.
long has this been up here? It's starting to wear.
Yeah.
It still looks pretty good unless you get really close to it.
This over here
Yeah,
Yeah.
was put up for the
That's-
centennial,
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
so.
That'd be before 2020.
Or-
17.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if it was a centennial, that's.
yeah.
It was, both this one and the one on the high school, the same time.
yep, that's right.
I had one, question that maybe you don't know the answer to this either, but with not being able to advertise the Highway 3 there, can we have Buff Nation on the windows?
It's welcome to, like Buffalo Nation, basically. It's not, that is not Buff Nation per se.
Yep.
It's like, welcome, bring it in, welcome to Buffalo Nation, but you
Yep.
can't put that without making it too long gibberish and that.
Right,
So that's what I had them work on too. I'm like, we gotta get it condensed too.
yep,
But that wouldn't be advertising.
Okay.
So that's just welcome to Stanley County Buffalo Sunday, basically.
yep,
Is that a state law now or what?
No, we can't put nothing on this west side. It's too close to the highway for advertising.
Native American byway.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what it
gotcha.
was. Yeah,
And that's why we took down the four that were up in the corner.
yes, yeah, we had to take them down.
What's your intent? I know that the wooden letters are now down.
That's something we're working on. If you look out there right now, there is a letter A because this is the door and I think you need that for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like right here
Hmm.
and they didn't want to put an A right there, obviously, so. They gave us an A, we could put somewhere.
So,
Right, but as far as the words part.
Oh, yeah, yes, fine, that's something we need to work on.
Yeah, we're gonna order some.
We're not going to repaint the wood.
No.
No.
Get some.
right.
I was just gonna say with the letter A, the one that's actually the sticker on the window can come down because Derek bought metal ones that he attached. I don't know where it is out there exactly. But if it's actually the sticker,
It's the sticker.
those ones he was replacing with metal signs. So he told me he had this building done. But I don't know where it's at out there.
Yeah.
So that letter A can be
Not a worry.
And
not
that's-
a worry.
Jennifer and I made those out of contact
Yes.
papers.
Yes, not a
That's
worry.
something we can look into too, with replacing Parkview Auditorium, like with some buffaloes in the background up there, some kind of. Have them make us a board. I know they can make boards like this and you just slide them together with all that stuff on it, so.
And then a question for the board, I guess, is since we're prettying things up, at what point can we put a better color on this building and well, all of our buildings? They're pretty bad.
Or did you?
Yeah,
We looked into that 2 years ago. We're trying to repaint everything. It's ungodly.
I know it is, but you know.
Right, yeah, I understand.
Even if we can't do all four sides once, I don't know. I don't wanna have something pretty up there and then everyone wondering why we only did it halfway.
Although I do think people pretty much understand, I mean, I don't know, most people have to do their house projects one by one. I
They do.
mean, we did the whole door thing in the windows and now we do this. I think it would be great if we could do it all in one shot, but.
Physically, we just can't.
We said it's
Did-
dark.
When you
Yeah.
looked into it, did you, get a quote? Or did you look into it for a price to a repaint or some kind of other cover? Do you remember what you?
That was for the high school and Parkview. That was
Oh.
kind of the fix, like, let's get it, so we had a capital outlay on that. It was,
Well, it was like 60 grand to paint the gym this year.
Inside,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know if that compares to outside, if it would be more to paint the outside.
yeah, it'd be more. Yeah, but
As long as if we were to go, if you guys were to go with the panels, then as long as they're able to be removed when. we
correct,
finally
I
do.
wouldn't put the stickers right on that tin, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They're aluminum panels, I felt them.
Yeah.
And just slide them, they go on a rail too, I think, and you just slide them in.
Right, then a person
Then you
could,
take them off, repaint, put them right back up.
What do you got back there?
So that right there, is that panels? Or is that?
Stickers, windows, it's a window wrap.
So my question would be, is that going on block or?
The actual door.
Them are all the windows and doors on the west side of Parkview.
So I have a couple of logistical questions. So does it obviously you can't see in, but how much does it change the view out?
I'm pretty sure you can see through them. That one at Redfield, you could see, I mean, it was, not quite, yeah, it's darkened. It's like a tinted tent. There you-
See out.
Yeah,
They did say though, if it's at night and there are lights on inside, this would be hard to see.
From the outside?
yeah, it'll be hard to see at dark, basically.
Yep.
If there's lights inside.
Yeah,
If
if there's
these
light-
lights are shining down and there's no lights on the inside, you'll see it.
So I guess I was just wondering, like, what the ramifications would be for the light that we get in Parkview from all those windows. I think obviously during volleyball and basketball, it's nice to cut down on the glare,
Yeah.
in evening games. But I didn't know what it would do to, summer, it would be great if it cooled it a little bit, but in the winter, it's nice to have the warmth, and it is nice. I mean, it's a pretty bright lobby. It's nice to have that natural light, and I mean, obviously, it's not gonna be quite the same, but I just was wondering how much of an impact there would be.
I would say it's like a tent,
Yeah, it's gonna cut down.
it's not gonna be pitch black on the backside of it. It's just gonna get rid of that glare.
Well, I think the glare at games is an issue.
Is,
And so I think, I'm glad this was on the agenda because I think this is kind of a significant exterior upgrade. It should come before us so we can discuss it. I say go for it. I think there's enough issues with that glare. Let's give it a try and let's see how it affects the light inside and the feel inside before we decide to do it on all the buildings. I don't know if it's a real impact on that. I don't know that I would advocate for it on all the buildings, but the glare is an issue,
is he,
for games in Parkview. It would be nice to, and it does look great, right on the highway.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
I did want to just also mention, and I don't want this to come off sounding wrong, when we say welcome to Buck Nation, I just want to point out that we are taking a big step in sort of a branding decision. And having said that, I have not talked to a single person that doesn't think it is a cool brand. But I did just want to, point out that this is this is kind of gonna become our slogan now, I guess, if we put this up here. And like I said, everyone I talk to thinks it's a really cool one.
I agree with you, Patty, actually. I like it, but that's one thing that kind of stuck with me ever since I've seen it. Like, we never talked about Buck Nation until last year. And all of a sudden have that on our windows, like, and I'm not saying anything bad against it, it's a big step,
It is.
because it's just hasn't been around. But,
Was it more just like, kind of like rebranding, like it used to be you're entering Buffalo territory or country, but
Right.
nowadays.
I mean, you go to,
Like this.
we go to Everett, and that's Redfield with the Pheasant Nation. I mean, all of it, it's just like
The new word.
Raider Nation.
yep, good.
I was just gonna say that 2 years ago, and this was before Patty was on there, but at one of our first meetings, we had Office of Emergency Management there, and they had suggested putting safety film on all the windows on the bottom floors.
Yep.
So this would be that kind of thing where you can't
Yep.
see in as
Yeah.
much. And we did not bring that, we haven't brought that forward since because of the cost. So I think it would be, from the safety standpoint, a good start on getting the bottom floor.
Right, and if it's even put Buffalo's in the middle, if it works, we would like to continue it.
Yeah.
So it pops the high school, so
Yeah.
curb appeal per se, just make,
Yeah.
dress it up.
Who is doing the work?
All right.
All right.
We tried getting a couple quotes. Some people didn't get back to us and then they
Yep.
got back to us like now. And that's one thing, if we get to go ahead, hopefully we can get it done before school starts or sports starts, so it's.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yep.
Is there a particular care that has to be
I
done
don't think so.
And so if a kid swaps his pop on the,
It should just wipe off.
Okay.
If something tears, he's gonna have the pattern.
okay.
They'll, you know, replace the sticker.
I would like to make one final comment, just procedurally. I think in the future, I assume we went out and fundraised for this particular item, or were you just fundraising in general? If this is what.
It was off of, yeah, it was in general, and then it's just like, when we
Okay.
seen the price tag, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this would be a good capital for the school, you know, a chunk of change to them, then you guys don't have to come up with the funds.
So I guess the distinction I was making, and I'm glad to hear that, I think in general, and it's not just recognition, obviously, anybody, Booster Club, all, you know, Buffalo Foundation or anyone, I think if you are going to get an idea and go out and fundraise for that particular, you know, if you were gonna go out and raise money for this particular project, I would expect that that comes before the board.
Before
you do that.
Yes,
If you raise this in general and just have this idea of spending
Yeah.
it, perfect timing. But I just was gonna, I think the one distinct exception would be, like, I know the Buffalo Foundation has always paid for the gym floor. And so probably doesn't need, if it's a general ongoing thing, probably doesn't need to come before the board, but if it's a new idea, you know, if it's raising money for one particular thing, it should probably come before us first. But, again, this is perfect timing if you had just raised generally, so thank you.
yeah.
I like it. Everybody else?
Yeah.
Looks really
I don't think we need a motion. I think we just-
That's up to you guys. All
No.
right, we'll get it going then.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
we get it
Thank
through.
you.
Thanks, John.
Before school starts.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
3 minutes.
After.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, want to jump in?
Yeah,
Sure, quickly,
we're gonna cut you off.
I have very little.
No way you get done 3 months.
Not unless you ask questions. We are going to, well, I already asked Tate to go to executive session in August. Under number 6, which is on emergency plans and something safety stuff. The threat assessment team would like to bring to you guys the procedures and policies that we are gonna follow starting in the new school year, so that if there's a big event going forward, that you, know what we're going to be doing and how it works, basically. And just like a simplified version.
Yep.
And then we're gonna ask Brett Garland, who works for the Homeland Security, to come. I don't know if he'll be able to make it, but just so if you have questions, that he'll be better able to answer them than us. But that, we're also going to get ready a parent letter so that the parents are aware of what the procedure will be. Is this threat assessment team will not be just used for big things, but little threats also. So it's in the matrix now, where it just says threat assessment. They will make a recommendation to either you guys if it's a big thing, or to the admin if it's smaller, on what consequences should be, or if it's nothing. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
But we will have more to bring you on that in August. Okay. That's
Awesome.
all I have.
That was a minute.
Okay, so there you are. I told you.
Minute and a half left.
Yeah, we're gonna wait just a minute here.
But we're gonna have Billy's and Grounds in a minute, might have you speak if you don't mind.
Do you want me to talk longer?
Well, yes.
Can I just ask a question? Next year, when we approve the budget that includes the 5-year capital outlay plan we talked about last month.
Yep.
Is that part of the budget approval process, or is that separate? That is, so we approve it all at the same time.
Yep, and that will be in September.
It's,
On Barling.
Is anybody else going to the conference?
Oh, I would normally go, but I can't.
Shirley, right?
Yeah.
Shirley and Desi.
Busy, yeah.
Going back. Got some first tournament.
Wow.
Well, I can't miss it, it's more rule, I gotta go
Yeah.
get a cigarette one time.
Yeah.
I gotta
Right.
do it, I gotta check it off my bucket list, sorry.
All right, I declare a recess for the 2025-2026 public budget hearing at 6:30.
Questions from the public?
Questions?
Normally most awkward bit of.
Let's go. Do we ask questions or?
It's public.
All right, that was a quick minute. I declare the board back in regular session at 6:31. Okay, buildings and grounds.
John, if you wouldn't mind, speaking, first, I guess before that, you saw my report on the buffalo carving, is that all I can eat idea?
I was aware we still kept it, I thought it died.
So did I.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
Yeah, they took it down a couple of years ago and now he thinks it's still salvageable. Possible.
Yeah.
That Daniel Boone
I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, the car.
wood carving,
Yes, I
yeah,
know.
yeah, the actual person did.
I
They
thought-
took it, we thought, we hadn't heard from them, we weren't sure. And Derek says he thinks he can restore it, yes.
I was not clear where you had in mind to put it though.
That, where the sign is that we're taking down,
Oh, you're gonna hang it from the,
on that pedestal there, if it can fit, I'd like to put it right in that corner there.
What's
Okay.
that?
The Coke sign, that's all torn up.
because that's advertising.
Yeah, that black pole that sticks out, remember we had the clock there and stuff? Yeah, that pole can come down and there's a concrete pedestal right there. And we thought, let's put that there if it fits. Yeah, we'll see if it works. If not, let's put something prominent there. I think it's right to the corner or something.
Yeah.
Instead of tearing out the concrete or whatever.
Yep, for sure.
So I just thought if that fits, I might see if we can't get that going. Okay?
Yeah.
I guess that's all that was. And anything else, before John talks, I'll let him talk about the track. So on pace of summer work orders so far. That's about all I got for going to
Some
ground.
heavy cleaning going on over in the elementary.
Heavy cleaning, yeah. Hallways are a mess, aren't they?
Base.
We want to get
Yes,
it.
it is.
Derek will give us an update on classroom availability soon and I know there's some anxious teachers. There always is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Jen.
My room's done.
Oh, Jen, you go to your room again.
Are you back in?
I'm back in. As long as, well, I'll have to use the back door, but.
Yep.
And with that, if John, if you don't mind sharing, give us an update on everything, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm glad to see you here. I didn't even mention, that's great.
Yeah, I went and got the guys some ice pops and we were relaxing and I saw all the cars. I was like, oh, it's school board meeting. So I figured I'd pop in.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll start on the south end. The scoreboard's moved, obviously, you can see that. We've got the softball scoreboard taken down. We're gonna move it over. I'm gonna paint those two columns black. We're gonna cut off the south one and get rid of it. Take the Holy Williams sign that was on the north end and put it on the back side facing the field. Cover up the back of the softball scoreboard. Athlete's going down Monday. Turf will start on the 21st. Those guys will take about 20 days to complete the field, start to finish. I'll let you guys know. We'll do first roll, last roll. Let you know a day or so ahead of time if anybody wants to come out and watch the first roll go down. You can stick around and watch them sew it all together. But yeah, press box and bleachers will be here mid-month. We're tracking pretty good.
Is all that ready to roll as far as when they get here, they're gonna start going out for now?
What's that?
The site and everything, will it be ready for the bleachers and press box?
Yep, we should be ready. It might have to sit for a minute, but we should be pretty close.
Yep.
So
Okay.
the field is almost done. They've got to have all the material on there before Morris gets here on Monday to lay the track. So we'll get everything onto the field and then it'll take them about a 5-day period to get everything completely smoothed out, laser graded and drug out for the turf guys to show up on the 21st. And do their thing.
Where are the turf guys coming from?
I'm not sure. I think they're at K-State right now. I'm not sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then just to add, the Capital Journal got a hold of me today, so I got an interview going through with them and.
Nice.
And they're gonna try to make a point to be here at our first home game, so.
Good. Thank you, Austin.
Thanks, John.
Okay. Good. Okay, first reading of youth handbook. So I'd be lying if I said that I understood everything in here. Let's start with, you two and what do you got?
It was a mix. It was really Jen, Mr. Connick and I.
Okay,
We did it in conjunction. All three of us sat down at the table with different edits that we each had, and we just collaborated and put it all together.
awesome.
So whatever questions you can have, you can throw them out. One of the three of us or all three of us can answer you if that works for you guys.
All right,
Go
I
for it.
just got a couple things, that we talked about last time that I think just didn't make it in. I think on the school calendar, we used to, and we have it for a few years, I think we should have graduation.
That's done. It's done. You just finished it. We have to stick it in there.
And then on page 13, the personal learning plans. We talked about this last time. I don't know, I felt there were one or two people who agreed with me. Maybe there was some disagreement too. So, but I just, in case it just got missed, we had talked about, saying parents or guardians should be included.
That,
I don't know if there was some,
yeah, that's coming as well.
Didn't we type that in there?
We did, I thought it went in there. We have changed that so that. personal
Yeah,
learning-
Like it's in the narrative, not on the form.
Right.
That's parents.
The parents will have to,
approval via signature or email.
yes,
Yes.
oh, thank you. I was like, I thought we put it in
Yeah,
there.
it's-
I knew that was a question. Perfect. And that's actually happening as we.
On the cell phone policy on 23, page 23, it seems that we, changed the, because now it says high school students are allowed to possess their cell phones throughout the school day, and I was just wondering what the thinking was on that. I feel like the whole cell phone policy has been a lot of talk about what we like to do and what's enforceable and all this stuff. And so I just was wondering what went into the thinking in changing.
And I'll address that, just because that was mainly, that idea started with me and then I discussed it with everybody. And if you talk to schools across the state, there's a polarizing, as we know, right? Some go no cell phones at all. Some go teacher discretion. Well, my line of thinking, and this is where that originally came from, is that in high school, we're training adults, right? And it is necessary for our high school kids, for our DDN classes, our dual credit classes. They have to have their cell phone, right? And it's also required for a number of other things in their schooling when they're in high school, mainly in the junior, senior realm, but for the most part. The other biggest thing there that is my driver is that we have to empower our kids to learn some lessons. And it's safer for them to learn them with us than it is out in the real world. And not that they're not in it. One of the things that, and I talked to Miss Keeley about this and Nicole and whoever, the teachers that I've met with about the policy that I was thinking about before we wrote it. And it will be a teacher rule per classroom. And it will be posted in their classrooms. That's gonna be an expectation that I have and that Mr. Conant and I agree on, and Miss Jen. And whatever their policy is, we enforce, right? And it's all about choice. That's how I've led in my previous positions, whether they're in the public sector or in school. And we all have choices. If you choose to violate the policy, then you choose the consequence, right? And so we really wanted to empower our kids to be able to speak for themselves in those areas. If it becomes an issue, each teacher can say, nope, not in my room. or they have to move away, or whatever the case may be. But we want to give them the opportunity. And when we do a presentation at the beginning of the year with the high school group, it will be phrased that way, that this is your option, this is your benefit to lose or keep, right, based on your behavior. And yes, we know that the bathrooms can be an issue, the Snapchatting, being that way. But a lot of that can be diminished. They won't ever go away. Doesn't matter if it's in school or out school. It will be diminished by presence of us in the hallways, me in the classrooms, enforcing the rules and enforcing the choices that the kids are making. Because the consequence is their choice. So that was my logic behind that. And then when I spoke with Mr. Connick, Miss Jen and Miss Graceland, I'm not gonna say Miss Graceland was on board right away. I had to tell her my whole thought process, right? Because I get it. I've been a teacher. I know that. So, but that's where it started. So I'm the culprit for that. And so, and I absolutely agree with you. We can go either way, and there's not gonna be a perfect thing.
There will not.
I just would like to empower our older students to learn that here with us, as opposed to when they're 18 and they send a Snapchat that they shouldn't have sent and get in trouble that way. So that's very comfortable.
Well, go ahead.
But what, so how will you handle, teachers that you don't agree with their policy?
Whatever their classroom policy is what my policy is. I stand behind them. If they decide that they will let them, if they're gonna instruct, for example.
Yep.
And they say that their phones can't be out during instruction, but they can listen to music while they're working independently afterwards, then that's their policy and I will back that 100%.
Okay.
It's individual by classroom and I will respect what their rule is.
We do need to probably keep all the handsets off the Wi-Fi though. I don't know if we
Yeah.
have to, put in something, hey, you can use your device, but we are not required to give you
That
access
is
to the
correct.
internet. I don't know if that needs to be added,
The
but
passwords will be very, very well protected.
yes.
Kids will not have access to the Wi-Fi passwords.
Okay.
So,
I had one thing on the dual credit. I've actually had this for a couple of years.
Sure.
But I've never,
What page you on?
17. Never brought it up. So I do kind of understand why we make it a very hard thing to get into dual credits. Like you have to be so high in your class, you have to have an ACP score with this and that. My question is like, and I'm not standing up for my kid at all. This is now I'm talking about this, but like, I'm gonna take my little boy that I love dearly is just a pain in the butt. All right? He is what he is. And he took his freshman year off.
Mhm.
And I mean, there is no chance
Right.
that he comes back and is able to take a dual credit.
So the thing with the dual credit is we don't have any say in that. That is a state, South Dakota Department of Ed
Okay,
mandated guidelines.
That helps.
And we
Yeah.
double checked.
We did look, cause I had that same question. I thought this is way
Yeah.
high.
it's tough.
We all thought it
Yes.
was tough, and so I looked
Yeah.
and it is worded exactly like that.
Yeah,
So, and that, so that's why that is.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we can't offer different avenues for him to gain those extra classes or whatever he wants to do.
yeah.
It just wouldn't be in a dual credit status.
Yeah.
It would be different.
And like I said, I'm not bringing James up. That's just an example, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Well, and
I know there's several kids that are like that.
you're not the only parent that have asked that.
Yep.
And I don't think it's common knowledge in the public that it's a South Dakota Department of Ed requirement that we say that,
Right,
that those are our guidelines.
But thank you for answering it that way, because
Of
that's
course.
not the answer I got before. So
Okay.
I appreciate that.
We specifically looked it
Yeah.
up because we
Yeah.
didn't know either.
Yeah, we were ready to be more lenient as well.
yeah.
All three of us, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah.
that's a better answer.
Then I got the other end of the spectrum where Sarah doesn't really have to go to college because she's done.
Right.
She's not, but she got what is done.
What she is.
So anyways, thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Anyway,
Yes,
Just got a question. With 6 boys in the school, who are a little bit rambunctious. And then hiring kids that are in the school and, kids that come from other areas. and working with them all the time, are we seriously teaching kids that they need their phones all the time? Because as they come out to work, that's what they do.
And that with this policy in high school, it is not allowed in middle school or elementary. They're not allowed to have them at all. The same rule as prior would apply. In high school, that's part of what we're going to teach them, is when it's appropriate. Because when you go further into the handbook, you'll see that we've designated some time where we're gonna teach them adulting life skills. And that's one of the things, is appropriate cell phone use in the workplace, in the school place, and those kind of things that we just don't teach, right? And a lot of times we assume that kids should just know that it's not appropriate to be texting while you're standing there working in Dakota Mart. That is an assumption that we shouldn't make, because they don't know. That's how they were raised. They were raised with them in their hand. So we want to take appropriate is what our thought process behind that.
Right now, I've got kids that are 17,
Yes.
turning 18.
Yes.
Zero turn mowers with one hand on their phone the whole time.
I understand.
And so somewhere along the line, they were taught by environment that they needed that to breathe.
That's
And
society.
I don't want to
Yep.
create that image in
Right,
their head
absolutely.
for any kid.
Doug, I hear you, and I was gonna follow up our conversation by saying, I have typically been on the other side of the spectrum, but I would like to see how this goes this year. And I hope that no matter how it goes, whether it's great or whether it's not, whether it works the way we hope or whether it doesn't, it seems clear to me that this is an issue we're gonna just have to keep talking about. It's for sure enough. So I think, I'm with you. Let's take a shot at it and see what happens, and let's revisit at least, somewhat decently regularly to see, and as we watch what other people are doing and what works, and just kind of keep this topic in forefront.
Any one of the three of us would tell you that we are not afraid to shut that off at any moment. It is a policy for them to be able to, it's a privilege that you have the choice to lose, right? And if it becomes a problem and it's gonna disrupt the learning environment, it will go away. All of us agree on that, if that makes sense.
Tyler, what do you got?
I think the cell phone deal it's gonna be an ongoing thing no matter what, no matter where you're at. But at some point, we as parents have to take the wheel on that.
100%.
My kids aren't allowed to take their phones to school. Because we all know what happened to my one, a battle we're still fighting. And it all started with phones and Snapchat and all that garbage.
Yep.
So at some point, we've got to rely on parents making whatever decision they feel is right for their kids as well. I mean, I don't know that you can policy police everything in the world. I like the idea personally, and that was just my 2 cents. I think we as parents, it's time to be a little more proactive, and we learned that lesson, and we're still learning, the hard way. So they're just my 2 cents.
No, I agree. Okay, anybody else on the, Yep.
Sorry. Just a little thing, another cell phone thing, but not really. Page 26, under personal property. I feel like in the past, we talked about the ability to search lockers in vehicles. And now cell phones are in there, and I don't actually, this is not, I guess I don't know that I just didn't, I'm not saying like I have a problem. One thing, is that actually legal to search the cell phones in the same way that it's legal to search the lockers?
Then did we change that? Mr. Connor,
I just look at if it's in there, I wonder if it's worth just.
We just added the word diminished from last month and matched the other policy, but I don't know, is
So
that?
maybe if we just say diminished, it is fine for cell phones. I just was gonna raise it, cause I don't know that they're exactly the same as lockers in vehicles in the parking lot, but maybe they are.
Chances are, even if we wanna look at the phone, If it comes to an issue with the phone and it's that serious, if we confiscate the phone, it's gonna be.
It's probably gonna
back.
next level, yeah.
Right. I'm not going to ask the kid for the password. I'm not gonna, they'll take the battery out anyway. I mean, they're smart, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, or they'll lock it or whatever. And I'm okay with that. It's just a problem in the moment. So it'll be in the office and we'll go from there. So I don't have.
Yeah, I don't have a
an assumption to touch the
problem
phone.
necessarily either. It occurred to me that sure, it's not quite the same.
For the law enforcement.
Yeah.
We have to go that far.
Yeah.
I have one last thing. I would like to propose that we take the discipline matrix out of the handbook. And my reasoning is this, as I think about it, I think, the way I analyze it, I guess I would say, how many of us in this room are parents of multiple kids? Probably a lot of us. Does anyone have a discipline matrix hanging on their fridge? I don't. And that is because I want the flexibility to handle situations based on the circumstances of that situation. And B, I also don't want my kids running to the fridge every time I meet out a consequence saying, you can't do that because it's not on the fridge. And I feel that we should keep it. It's important to have as more of an internal document, more of a guide, not a promise, I guess is what and when we publicize it, it becomes a promise. And I'm not saying we keep it secret, I would anticipate if a parent or a student comes in to say, this isn't fair, you could pull out the handbook and say, this was my guide, this is what kind of where I started. I'm not saying it has to be secretive, but I don't know what we gain from having it in the handbook, except for having our hands tied unnecessarily in situations where we maybe don't want our hands tied. So that's, I think we should take it out of the handbook.
We've had that discussion.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought and I honestly feel somewhat the same way. I'm kind of on the fence. And Ben and Jen and I, we all talked about this a little bit too, not to great length. But it's giving us leniency, which we kind of took over. We kind of fixed that and kind of gave us a little bit more wiggle room in there. Or it's not giving the kids the consequence ahead of time. Like if we're gonna go by the choice factor, okay, so I am choosing, I know exactly what my consequence is gonna be if I choose to do this behavior, right? It's kind of like a rubric for a class, for a college class. They get a syllabus, they get a syllabus that tells them exactly what they have to do to get an A and how to do that, right? Well, by taking that out, we do remove a piece of that ability for them. But I don't have it doesn't matter to me either way. For kids like to know what's coming. And that would be my only suggestion on that side. That's just my opinion.
I've been through this through the years. We pulled it out of many of the handbooks I've dealt with and had it as a guide, because you'd want to use that as a guide. You want to base your decisions on it, but being bound to it is now when you're using discretion, you've got to make an argument for why you're doing it. Discretion could go either way. It could be more or less severe depending on the situation. And then, like I said last month, sending a kid home might not be the best for that child. We might decide it's better to keep them in school and do something alternative for them because we know the home life. There's lots of variables out there. So yeah, when it's been in a handbook, I've been held to it and then I've had to fight for what's best for that child. If it's a guide, it's there. And then we can always say, we are using this guide and we've made some discretion on certain situations. So I'm in favor of having it as just a guide for administrative for such.
And I totally agree. I disagree. I think people need to know the community. Well, we have parents here, and we should ask. Do the parents want to know the consequences? You talk about workplace. Do we not have rules for staff? There's a staff handbook here that's X pages long. Why do we even give it to them then?
We also will work things out personally with somebody.
I think
It's fine. It's just that it is a hassle to fight it when it's.
I think it covers their butt, because at least then it says, okay, bullying, hazing, blah, blah, this happens, blah, blah, will happen.
How much wiggle room do you have, like, in using it?
Ben would use it. Ben has used the matrix more than I have, so I'll prefer that thing.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a nice like blanket of insurance, as Shirley is saying, kind of like, cause I've had parents question, why are you doing that? Why is that? I'm like, well, I mean, this is the guide, I guess, but it's nice it's in the handbook, like you can refer to the handbook on page 38 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can go look at it yourself and I'm not just making this up by any means.
Yeah.
I'm consistent with my ruling in that. But there is discretion involved with a lot of it, like I do like, and the new threat assessment stuff we're doing is gonna be real handy. You know, because we were already kind of doing that last year anyways, and coming together as a team and making decisions on some of the more harmful stuff, but little things. Depending on the situation and the choice matters, that's huge, like, I'd walk into a classroom with a kid that's, you know, being insubordinate, it's like, well, here's what we can do, based off your choices, you can have 3 days of ISS if you don't figure it out and come down here and cool down. Or you can have 1 day if you cool down, come with me and follow the rules and tell the truth type of deal, and they do that, because I show them in the handbook type of deal as well. So I guess that's how I used it.
Yeah.
Now, that's much like a guide, but as far as insurance and when parents ask, more to them than it is with kids, but.
Yeah.
It lends consistency.
With it being in there, wouldn't it kind of cut down on the parents coming in to the school, be like, well, that's why my kid got OSS, because it's third violation of so-and-so, and it's in the handbook.
I think
It's like having it in there for them to see right away.
Sean, what do you have?
Just the perspective of you taking out of that handbook is, that's fine, but now my kid's in sports and your kid's not, and they did the exact same thing. Favoritisms, now that, if you have it in the handbook, you have to follow it, not exactly to the T, but both my kid and your kid are getting the same consequences, where, oh, we're in the playoffs, nope, you didn't do nothing wrong, and your kid's out. I mean, that's the way I look at it, and then the parents know right up front, it's in the handbook. You know, here it is, you have a backbone then. Just my 2 cents, sorry.
I don't mind it being in there as long as there's wiggle room.
Right, yeah,
Keep the discretion. there.
Yeah.
100%.
And I
Either
think we
way,
started
it
talking about it.
exists.
Right.
I started thinking about it, we started talking about it, well, I've thought about it before, because I have seen, when I worked at the school, there were a few instances I can recall where it seemed to provide a path to not make a decision based on the circumstances at hand, either downward or upward.
Yep.
Like this, it just seems like a different situation, and you can't always just go to the handbook and say X, Y, Z, here's your punishment. You have to be able to have some ability to move around. I think last month were talking about a few things where there wasn't any wiggle room. And so I think, yeah, I mean, as long as everyone is comfortable with the ability to be flexible based on.
There is also a statement, I don't have the new one, so I don't know what page it's on, but it's the last page of the regular one under school discipline matrix that says the principal may modify actions at their disciplinary actions at their discretion. So if there is something that is out of the normal, that they can decrease or increase or whatever they need to do.
Okay,
Perfect.
I think if you have it in there, the community holds to it too. And I see that being a good thing.
You have anything else, Dave?
yeah.
Pat? Okay.
Probably, well, one thing, but it's kind of different on the technology handbook with the cell phones. Like the 2 policies for the matrix and that are kind of different. So
Yeah,
whether it'll be that for the
Yeah,
handbook.
that was because of crossing communication. I didn't know they were changing that, and so I did not update mine, so I'll just update it.
Are we talking about all the handbooks, or are we going?
We will, and
Okay.
yeah, we'll be on tech next time.
I was gonna
Proud of
say
you
that.
for actually.
Not a big package.
Thanks for the.
Okay, anything else on, student handbook? Okay, moving on to technology handbook.
Yeah.
Tyler, start with you.
Yeah, that's already been taken care of, so.
Yep. Anything you have for us?
No, the only thing I was asking to change is the usage fee at the beginning of the year, I would like it bumped up to 35 instead of 25.
Okay.
We are, but with the cost of Chromebooks and cases and it's that 35 is generous.
Yep.
We're still spending about $100 a Chromebook per student. So I had to ask for that to be moved.
Was 35 before you want it raised or it was?
No, it was 25 before, 35 is what I put in there.
I have a question for you on the damage fees.
Yep.
Does $50, how many damage fees do you assess in general? This is a wild question.
So their first broken screen is covered by their usage fee.
Mhm.
And then after that, it's the, they're an additional $50. I would say there's only a handful of students that break more than one screen throughout the school year. And so that's why I feel like that number is still appropriate. If I start to see that increase, because we did go ahead and go to touchscreen Chromebooks for the high schoolers, it was something they, for 2 years, why aren't they touchscreen? Why aren't Pierre has touchscreen? So we did it. If I see that increase, then we're gonna have to move that accordingly, because again, these are not cheap and we need to get 3 or 4 years out of them.
Right.
So $50 is doable right now.
Okay.
It's, again, I would say maybe 10 students that bring it to me more than one time a year and say, I'm sorry, I broke the screen again. But I need to make sure that all of the teachers are, stop laying them on the ground, stop, kids are tripping over them, they're stepping on them. I had a student call a parent because they left their Chromebook in Lily Park in the middle of winter, things like, yeah. So we really need to make sure that we are sticking to our guns on, you didn't bring it, call home. I don't mind giving out spares, but I've had spares brought back broken. It's like, because they're not in a case, they're not in a, you know what I mean? So the $50 is okay for now. But we may have to revisit it.
And do they actually get paid the $50? I mean, do they pay the $50?
Yeah, if we have to bill out for it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would ask you, but yeah, as far as I know. And chargers, I mean, some of them do die, but I get pets, chewing through cords and things like that. They need to. Some of them, I mean, if they die, that's not their, that's out of their control, but I get back chargers that are in pieces and go, my dog chewed this.
I had 3 chargers die in the last week.
That's not a good time.
No, I've had to come into her every day. This charger is not working today.
And they need to start understanding, neglect versus accident.
Right.
I had a few come in just this school year where they left it out in their vehicle overnight, below zero, come in, screens popped. That's technically neglected. That's not it was an accident, they should be purchasing that. So just cracking down on that.
Thank you.
Anything else on technology? Okay. Moving on, staff handbook.
There's a lot of pages now. It was like 30
I
last
actually used this
year.
today to discipline my kids. There's a lot here.
It's a conglomeration of what we had in the past.
Yeah.
That's why all that red is there, so you could see what we originally had.
That's fine.
We could have taken all that out.
The majority of it, and I will say, the majority of it is the job descriptions and evaluations,
Yeah.
because the actual rule, so to speak, is like 10 pages.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the changes came in the back, and that's why it is so long, because like an evaluation for one person could be 5 pages long. It's
Yeah.
not, there's nothing you can do to shorten that up,
Yep.
Everything I changed was in red. Other than if it was grammatical or spelling issue or formatting, I didn't highlight all that, but Other than that, like stuff that I was deleting or changing, I tried to highlight so you guys would see exactly what. But the majority of it came specifically in the back. The only thing in the front that was put, I think that was new that I recall. It came from Sarah here, was badges, I don't remember. And that staff have to pay for them after losing so many of them a year. Evidently, that's an issue I didn't realize. I've had my badge for a while.
Like $15 or something like that.
It's $8,
It's eight, eight will cover.
School board members are included.
but
Well, I have not, well, be honest, I may have lost my wife since she's,
What's in the,
yeah.
it was in my office for like 8 days.
One thing, number, I know you have.
I will number,
Pages.
I didn't do that because I'm gonna have Word create the table of contents itself.
Okay,
But I need to have all the stuff I'm deleting out of there before I do that. So it will be page numbered and a table of contents when it comes for the next
well,
one.
I knew you would be.
Yes, I would do that, yes.
Yeah.
Cause it will, otherwise it's, yeah.
I just have two comments and they're sort of related and they're sort of related to your area. So we have the whole big piece on mentorship, mentors. I would like to have, I believe we should have a coaches mentorship program too. So whether it is as extensive and formalized as what's in here, I feel like there should be some kind of lip service and some kind of plan to connect new coaches with a mentor. And on the same token, in the superintendent's responsibilities under culture of learning, number F, one of them is to develop the instructional and leadership capacity of staff. And I think I would advocate for having something similar under the athletic director's responsibilities, develop the coaching and leadership capacity of coaches.
Okay,
That was my own page.
let me get there so I can.
What page is that at?
Okay, it's under, which section did you say? Professional culture of learning.
The middle to the back.
It doesn't have to be exactly that, but I
Okay.
thought there should be something comparable under athletic directors because I feel part of our responsibility is to develop the leadership capacity of our coaches, just like we do for
Okay.
teachers, so.
That's an easy change.
The difficult change might be finding. How do you go about, who am I speaking to? I don't. whoever.
Haley,
How do you go about finding these mentors? Let's say you want to have what do you do, Keely, softball? Let's say you want to do a softball mentor. And how would you, I'm just curious, how do you go about doing that?
Reach out to other athletic directors. I mean, if you're networking and know enough people, like, I mean, being in the softball world, I would know exactly who I'd want to go and talk to in the state of South Dakota. You know, it's not that hard. I mean, and some, we might have some right in our community. Some could be our coaches on staff that could be mentors, but we have a pretty young, I mean, some of our coaches are pretty young, so that wouldn't necessarily be the case, but for our coaching staff, but, yeah, like you have resources, I have resources, but I feel that.
So you feel
A lot of
comfortable
people-
being able to reach out to whatever town
Yes,
and see if they'd be willing to
I'd
do
be very
that?
comfortable with that.
And then are those mentors just asked to do that?
Well, and I guess I will just say, I was not thinking, I guess now that we're talking about it, I didn't think it totally through I guess. What I would say is, I don't know that in every circumstance, a softball coach needs a softball coaching mentorship. Like for me, I feel like if we're hiring them as a softball coach, it's probably because they know softball pretty well. But they might not know how to coach pretty well. I mean, you look at a lot of our elementary coaches and our middle school coaches, they're people sometimes who come in that don't have a lot of coaching experience. They know how to play basketball, but they might not know how to teach basketball. They might not know how to lead a team. And those are things that can maybe be, learned through connections with people who aren't necessarily coaches in that sport. It could be someone, you know, an experienced coach in school. It could be, you know, a former coach in the community. I mean, it could be a lot of people. So I guess when I'm, and you know better
Yeah, it
than
doesn't
me.
necessarily have to be sport,
Yeah.
the same sport,
Yeah.
just like someone, I mean, someone who's a good leader, no matter what type of program they're leading.
I understand that, but are we going to ask this person a one-shot question to be a mentor? One day, one time, or are they going to truly be a mentor? And then are we going to compensate them for this? Or how does that, I'm just asking, how does that work?
I think if you're a mentor, you have to choose to be a mentor because you have to choose to play the sport, you have to choose to learn it. And you usually learn that from a good coach as you're playing.
Well, the teacher program, you pay them. So
Right.
I would.
That's my point.
We should probably compensate do the same for the coaching. Maybe it
That
doesn't
was-
have to be the same amount,
Right,
but I would suspect you'd want to compensate the mentor.
And some of them might not even take it, but
They might
at
not,
least, have the option.
but
Like, I know Joey's got a great mentor as far as, he gets a lot from him, I'm sure Quinn bids with him too.
When
Yeah,
Frederick, yeah, the Basketball Coach Association has mentorship programs.
yep,
But you have to be willing to go out and do it yourself. It's not like the school district is ready to it. I mean, and as a coach, I think a lot of people get in for the right reason and you want to make those connections. A lot of people probably have mentors that we don't know.
So you don't want that in here, do you? Would it be
I'm
better
just
in
throwing it out
hers?
there. I mean, I just.
If you're gonna put it, I just wanted to make sure
I
that
would
it was.
like some language in the athletic director's job
Yeah.
description, just giving lip service to the fact that, you know, we're developing coaches' leadership skills and stuff like that too, but in terms of a formalized, I mean, I don't know that I'm saying we need to have a whole section on mentors, I'm just throwing it out as something to work toward, I guess, or.
anything else on the staff handbook? Okay. I wanna say, Desi, when I texted you the other night, it is all in good fun, I promise you. If I text you, it is in good fun.
I know. I was kind of waiting.
Okay, moving on to activities.
Okay, there was one piece that I gave you, the teacher coach absent. The competition attendance policies, that was new, and that was after Desi and I met and Ben happened to be there too, so we decided that that's probably something that should be in activities handbook because my handbook, I mean, everything like athletic and activities wise has been coming to me that they're taking out of other handbooks, so. But I guess from the beginning of the handbook that you guys would have been able to see ahead of time. The mission statement is something that I've been working on the last year for my master's program. And this is something I've shared with coaches last year. And I've shared with them again, earlier this summer. But, that's something that I would like to add along with those goals. And it does kind of go tie in with your idea of the coaching leadership program, Patty, so, a big thing that I've been learning about the last year is just like providing an education-based environment for our activities. And like we just really have to focus on athletics and activities are an extension of our school day, they're not something separate. The United States and Canada, I think, are two countries that are very unique and where we provide activities for our kids that are part of school. A lot of other places don't do that. And so, you know, like we want to prepare our kids to win and to compete, but that's not our purpose. And, you know, we really want to provide our kids with teachable moments. We want to build healthy relationships with them. We want them to be able to grow physically, but also mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, even depending. And, so that's what I kind of built into this mission statement. And then based on that, you know, tying those kids to a transformational coach, like all of you that have been in an activity before probably has someone that you can think back to that really impacted your life. And I want our coaches to be that for kids. And then, so again, to provide them with opportunities to grow outside of the physical realm. We're doing that already by getting them to practices and weightlifting and things like that, but, the social, emotional, mental side of things too. Creating a culture of belonging, we've already talked about the social media aspect of that. That makes things a little bit tougher nowadays, but creating a culture of belonging among all of our stakeholders. I mean, that's you guys as community members, parents, fans, not just our coaches and our kids. And then pushing our kids to be learners and students first, obviously, and then activities, second. So, and that's held accountable through our eligibility policy that we have. But, so those are two things that I want to add, and that'll be something that I'd like to discuss when we do our push that out to the public. My coaches know it, we've talked about it a little bit, but that's just something I want to push it out to kids and start really focusing on it. So yeah, the coaching and leadership program will on display. So I'll start working on some stuff with that.
I really like the mission statement, both.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been a few class work of stuff, so, I'm a student, I'm in a like student athlete development class right now, and I'm really excited about, so to get some good ideas from like the culture piece of stuff that we can always get better at, so. I'm sure I will have more things at some point. Under student conduct, I just want to change our attendance policy from noon to 8 a.m. I think it's important for our kids to be in school all day. We make it a big the first 10 minutes, but 8 a.m. should be here. Cut off time, but, hopefully they're in there a couple minutes after the announcements, but I think on a game day, we need to have expectations for our kids. So I'd like that to be 8 a.m., please. And then the academic eligibility standards, nothing's changed there besides I changed the dates of when I do those first sets of grade checks. But the one thing that does change is, grades will affect kids that are in FFA. Our FFA advisor is a paid position. So I'd like that to be, I know it's not SDHSAA, but we have some kids, it's not the classroom activity either right now. So it isn't truly an extracurricular activity that they miss all day of school for. They go.
So the distinguishing line would be if like band and chorus, if the concert
If
is
the
part of your
concert's
grade,
classroom,
that's
yep,
different, but
yep.
anything else would
Yep,
fall.
so
under-
like,
okay.
your honor band, honor choir, your all-state music events, those fall under this policy because they're activities association events. And actually, it really probably just be those all-state competitions that wouldn't even be for, because music contests are probably considered a classroom activity. So, but I know Tina does a good job at holding her kids accountable too on her end, so, but I just want to include FFA, 'cause we've had, I don't know, that's just been a gray area in the past. And we haven't been able, like last year, I could have implemented this to some kids. Should have.
Hold accountable.
I mean, they're representing our school, so that's just, that's part of it for me too, I guess.
Well, to me, the important part is, they should be held accountable. At one point when I worked here, there was a very, you had one bad grade for a week that could have been. Occasionally, it seemed there were some circumstances that were maybe a little bit beyond the student's control, and then they were out. And so for me, I like and I think probably ever since you've been here, this is how it's been done. It's like they get the warning, like they get the grade
It was
check
really
and they have a
well.
week to bring it up. And so if there is an extenuating circumstance, if they think a teacher didn't put in a grade, if there was an illness, if there was something, they have a week to
Yep.
get back on track, and then the hammer drops.
And I'm pretty good. They know, most kids know to come to me and talk about any issues with that. So I'm pretty good at figuring out what the issue was, if there was an issue. And I work with the teacher directly, and advocate for the kid. So we've had some issues where we're like, oh, I forgot to change that grade. Like that just happens with staff. So, and it's important for those kids to learn to have those conversations with their teachers too and advocate for themselves. And so, you know, I've encouraged that when they come to me about something, I was like, well, have you even spoken to your teacher about your grade? You know, and if like you need a person to be there in that conversation, I can be that person, but you have to, it has to start with you. And for the most part, like teachers have been the ones that know that they maybe have like missed a grade or whatever, they're very accommodating and they'll fix it. We clear it up with coaches and it's easy. So we really, very few, I mean, the warning list can sometimes get long, but the actual ineligibility list is pretty short every week. So they figure it out.
What about, what you changed by the first grade check of the new semester? Why did that? Or what was that process there?
Well, it's for, sorry, for which,
Academic eligibility standards,
under by the year, by the dates.
Oh, is that like if they
Oh,
fail?
sorry.
the middle paragraph.
It just, it wasn't the right, because it's not necessarily the second week of the new semester. I think just to clarify for mine, because like last year, when I went back, if we would actually look at this better, I had the wrong date for second semester.
Oh, fair enough.
Because I forgot second semester ended in January.
Yep,
So I had it for like the second week in January or whatever.
yep,
So I think that was more just for me.
okay.
Or I looked back at those dates. I think I got them right this year.
I have a question, but I don't think it's a Keely question. It probably is your question, on the cost that we pay kids, the amount of money we pay them for lunch, breakfast and dinner, 6, 8 and 10. I'm just curious, number one, is that set by the state? We set that? Did, so all of us have probably eaten at McDonald's and I don't know anybody who eat for $6.
I was gonna say, I
We just doubled it.
anywhere, get one meal for $24.
It was just-
like.
We just doubled it?
Just doubled it last year.
It was $3?
It was 3, 4, and 5.
It didn't go very far.
Wow. Okay, well, I was just curious because that, you know, I know it helps a little bit,
Right.
but
I will say I had a girl come back from state track this year. And she came up and she goes, thank you. And I'm like, for what? I had $84 when I got back home. I'm like, you didn't eat anything.
she couldn't have.
Yeah, but she was appreciative.
I just didn't know.
A
because-
lot of teams.
Snacks,
Yeah.
FYI. We've been.
Oh, we got that, just got help do it. 3, 4, 5. It's $12 a day.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
Yeah,
You add it all up, you can almost have a happy meal.
Right.
I just, I'm curious.
Especially at state events for a hot dog. It's like,
Yes.
oh.
By itself.
Okay.
Oh, so do we, when Miss Milliken and I go to state for theater, I know, she and I know we have kids that don't have enough money and we end up always, she or I, don't worry about it, honey, it's covered by the dollar coach or whatever.
Right.
I'm just curious, do you find that, Keely, in a lot of your kids' team? I'm just curious what the percentage is. I don't really know.
You really don't have a lot of teams make it state, so we really don't.
Let's be honest.
State practice, most kids we've sent to state.
Yeah.
I will say this, just the other day, I covered 2 entry fees for running 4 on the 4th. Out of 8 kids.
Uh-huh.
It is what it is. It came out of the basketball fund,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I just didn't know if there was.
I've paid for kids to get.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want this to be, now the staff feel obligated. I know they don't have to, but they feel obligated so that, you know, Tyler's not sitting there hungry while everybody else gets to eat.
Yeah.
Well, I had one
Sorry,
girl,
Ty.
actually, one girl this spring had like a mental breakdown over not like forgetting money or they didn't have it. And you know, it's just like it's like, what's going on? Then, you know, they tell you, you're like, it's okay. You
Yeah.
can get food, like, we'll make it work, you know, like.
Yeah,
And I know, again, we're doing that because we want to, not because we have to, and, but I don't know if it's like, I wouldn't say it's even 50% of our kids,
Right.
you know, like, it's a small percent.
Well, I think it affects them all through the year, not just at state. I mean, there's kids on every team that probably just don't eat after a game because they didn't have the money to pay, you know.
Miss on with you.
McKinney Vento Funds helps with some of that homeless funds. We've also got, so then like we can buy gift cards. And if we need to, with some of our homeless students or who considered homeless, we had like 26 students who were considered homeless last year. And that was the ones we identified. We know that there's more.
Yeah.
So I do know that homeless funds can help with some of that. If we can buy gift cards or know ahead of time that it's coming. Honestly, I was the McKinney Vento liaison last year, and sometimes it's worth a phone call to me because I have a hard enough time keeping track of my own kids' schedule, let alone, oh shit, this kid needs this. So sometimes it helps to just reach out to them. I think it's either Ben or Dan this coming year. So reach out to them and ask, because that's definitely something McKinney Vento, also Buff Closet Fund. If it's something we can buy from Dakota Mart, we've been very generous enough to get a charge account at Dakota Mart. Somebody donated $5,000. So if we needed it for birthday treats, I ran over quick. So if I can provide snacks that way for some of our students, and even they have microwavable dinners at Dakota Mart, even a bag of chips. I don't want somebody to be like, oh, I can't get that. No, I mean, if you want chips, I can get you chips. So it's just a matter of telling me what they want and just that communication, because I can definitely help. I can't help for food at the gas station with Buff Funds, but I can maybe provide them some of that stuff prior to them going, if that helps at all.
Don't worry, that was always up to the bus driver.
yeah, and that has happened.
Right.
Our bus drivers have also kicked in.
Yep.
When we've gone.
Well, one thing that we did last year as middle school coaches, knowing that and being completely honest, watching kids just blow money at a gas station. I mean,
Yeah,
I watched a kid go in there, grab a bag, spend $20 and then reach in her pocket and go, holy crap, I got $20 more. And went back in and got another bag. And then just left all of us.
Yeah.
So middle school girls last year, we didn't stop.
Mhm.
And it made it so much easier. But
Like at state, like if that money doesn't cover it, like you said, people chip in or whatever, well, can you ask to be just reimbursed by the school? Can the coaches come back and be like, hey,
and you can't do that without receipt for the auditor, right?
Well, it would probably come out of their fundraising account, is what we would do, and we go to it.
that way it never has to
Yeah,
worry about it?
Yeah,
Anyway, I just meant 15.
right.
They just like, they'll order pizza, like if they're somewhere, they just order it ahead of time and everybody pitched in. Whatever, I mean, cause not,
kids don't have to worry about it.
right, because the kid might not have a 20 or 10 to throw in, so. This was, I guess, the ninth grade team last year. So they were, I think in Yankton, somebody, they ordered pizza, picked it up, so I could eat it on the bus on my way home. And somebody didn't have money, it was the same thing, a big, huge meltdown and didn't have money, but wanted pizza, so then going forward. They just all pitched in, the parents kind of helped a little too, but, and like, so when they do Subway pizza, it was just kind of, so nobody got put on the spot, they couldn't have, things, they didn't have money.
And like, I know our basketball parents, I know Patty headed it up, Jessica headed it up, whatever, you guys were in here every night, it seemed like they're went feeding their
They
kids.
well.
It's awesome. It was great. And a lot of our football games on the road, the teams will feed us after the game, which is nice.
Right.
On certain trips.
I just didn't know what percentage this, you know, to increase it, and I guess I didn't realize that it had already been increased
Yeah.
by half again. But I didn't know how much of the budget that really encompasses. You know, and is it a big hit or is it not a big hit? I didn't know.
I'd like it to be a bigger hit if we had every team going.
Yeah.
Yeah, every kid in the school and all these.
But yeah, one night.
I mean, sure, like, and the play is a big one.
Yeah.
The council.
Yeah.
Those are about the three biggest ones.
Okay,
And hopefully basketball will be bigger.
okay. Just curious, thank you.
Anything else on activities?
I have a couple questions. Great. One, at the end on the, lettering requirements and end of year awards. I was wondering what went into the decision to have that new language about the, alcohol, tobacco, drug policy. Why is lettering up to the discretion of the coach, but the end of the year banquet awards are not? Like, what was the distinction?
I had a few people, I guess it was just a conversation with me, or with some people that I've had, so if you guys have other opinions, I'm willing to change it. If you don't want it to be, coach's discretion, then student athletes would just not get their, either an end of year award, and they wouldn't letter if they got in trouble for their policy, and I'm fine with that.
So end of year awards, you're talking like
Athletic banquet.
most improved.
Yeah, athletic banquet, anything athletic banquet.
I would advocate for, coach's discretion with you in the loop, like, so, you know, like to say both get discretion, but that both have to have, I don't know if you want to say approval of you or someone in the administration, but at least consultation. Cause I don't know, I mean, I guess I don't know if there's, I don't know if there's situations where, I don't know. I just was basically curious what the distinction was between those awards and between lettering. But, and I actually would maybe toughen it up and say, if you have someone who has, you know, a violation of this policy, you know, you should be in the discussion too and deciding that maybe.
I'm a little bit more old school. I know we had some kids screw up when I was in high school, and there was no way they were getting an award, period.
And I'm not saying they should. I mean, mostly I just was wondering why lettering gets discretion and the other doesn't. Maybe neither should, or maybe both should. I don't know. I just was wondering why the distinction.
I don't know how much I can say when we're on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm fine with it.
We had
I'm just curious.
We had specific examples from this last year's particular that I think there's a handful, I mean, probably a large handful, did not agree with the words that were received.
That's fine. I just,
And like looking back on that, it's like, oh yeah, that doesn't really set a very good example of it.
Well, you certainly can make the argument, I guess, now that we're talking about it. Lettering is not as public and an end of the year award is very public. And so if you have a kid that everyone knows, you know, if there was something, lettering is more, you know, it's just not such a public. Yeah.
Isn't lettering and awards representing the Stanley County Buffalo?
Yeah.
I mean, didn't we hold-
Go on a letterman's jacket if they bought a letterman's jacket.
Didn't we want to hold that to a higher standard?
And I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm fine with that. If that's what you guys want it to be.
That would be a tough way to go, but I don't hate it.
Well, I'm in favor of it, but then I'm older school than you.
Not by much.
I'm not.
The first night we got sent you.
But yeah, if there's a possibility of ever a situation where, and I guess I haven't read the policy closely enough. I mean, I guess I'm just wondering, is the policy tight enough that there's no doubt there would never be a situation where, I guess, I mean, we just need to make sure the policy is spot.
I have a question, and I'm sorry, Kaylee, I didn't want to interrupt your conversation, so I just have a question to pose, and it doesn't have to be answered now or whatever, and you can tell me later. Because they're underage, we may not know, right?
Right.
Because technically those records are not public, and we might know of some by word of mouth, but we may not know of others by word of mouth. So I'm just curious in our policy, and I'm all for being strict because I'm from that same school. I just want to make sure that whatever we put into policy, we actually have the right to know and we don't end up being inconsistent or unfair with our kiddos and one kid because they were silly enough, that's the most appropriate word I can think of.
Yep.
To put it on Snapchat and somebody screenshotted it, right?
Happens.
As opposed to this other kid who was also there, but was not on camera and there's no proof. And, because we aren't gonna know from law enforcement. Right? So that's just a question I posed for this particular situation.
Sure.
And you all may have an answer to that, I'm just curious.
The kids that get in trouble in different counties.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't always know. Spoken back, there's something we changed in our policy last year, was we don't always know that. And we did change our policy to be something that's effective with our drug alcohol policy, it's effective all year long. So sometimes it'll be word of mouth or on the system.
They're not very quiet, I'm aware, I agree with that.
And, you know, I've had some situations where the kids are just honest about it, and because they know that someone else will probably find out about it anyways. So that's, you know, I know there's obviously some gray areas in that, and there always will be probably, but.
Easier in a small town for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
But I know that we don't always have access. And some of the instances too, though, were things, that happen on school grounds.
Okay,
So then we do
that makes sense. Absolutely.
But yeah, violation of school policy to me means we've proven it and, yeah. we can't-
I just had two other things. One, and I mentioned this last year, on the, let's see, no page numbers, but this is, no, that's okay. The, I'm on the page that has the season lights. And it's the paragraph right above where we're talking about scheduling. When we went to a 4-day week, the intent was that we work to schedule athletic and other activities, on Thursday nights, Fridays and Saturdays. And so, and you talked about this last July, and I had said I'd like to have us get back to that. And I would like to consider having something, I mean, if we're talking about the sanctity of the school day and varsity football games restricted to evenings or Saturdays, and track and cross country Saturdays and evenings whenever possible, so they don't miss school. You know, there's basketball games, volleyball games. It's really hard to have those late nights coming back on a Monday. It's really hard on the kids and coming back on a Tuesday. And so I would like to see us at least try to really get those events back to Thursday, Friday, Saturday games. We have had the last couple of years, we have, for instance, basketball, we've hardly had any Saturday games, it seems like. And we just have a lot more weekend games. And so I would like to see us try and move back to that.
I'm curious how that works for scheduling, since if you're a 5-day week school, we must play 5-day week schools, don't we?
We do.
So that's my issue too, like that.
How do you
Everybody
find,
play is a 4-day school.
It's not easy to move schedules, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
well, aren't contracts issued 2 years in advance or something like?
Usually, but even just like trying to find a new date with the school is really hard. Like, I'm trying to not have the boys basketball team, for example, play 2 weekends in a row where they have Jones County tournament and then they go back to back the next weekend of a Friday, Saturday again. Can't make it work because it doesn't work for Gettysburg to move the game. And because it's also thinking about, like, I don't know, I guess the best interest of our kids too, of like, I don't know, should we be playing 6 games in 10 days? But you also can't, it's a really short time frame for some seasons to fit 20 games on only Fridays, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. That's another challenge too. But a lot of these schools have their schedules super locked in, like Winter has already sent me schedules for 2026, 27 and for their basketball programs. Like, that's how far in advance he's scheduling is for the 26, 27 school year. So I don't have a best answer without trying to reach out to all 20 schools that we compete with and see who can play on a Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Cause it already isn't easy just to move one game to off of a Tuesday or whatever it may be. So,
I would take it a step further too, and I do agree with you. I think it would be way better if we could have everything on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but like from a coach's standpoint, I watched Keely last year try to throw a game plan in for a back-to-back, and it's impossible. I mean, there's not enough time, and not saying that academics are everything, or athletics or everything academics should come first, but it's really hard from a coach's standpoint to do that. But yeah, I don't know, there's-
Well, and I know we're not gonna get everything on the weekend, and your point is right. I mean, we need to consider the it is a balance, and academics have to come first, but it is, we're all parents, you don't want your kids to, you don't want those 6 games in 10 days either. But we have had a real, I guess I have noticed it in basketball, just the lack of weekend games. And so I just, if we can budge a little bit, I think that would be a good start. Because I do think if you can space out the, as long as they're not too clustered, it is good to have some of those moved off the weekdays. If we can, if we can just take some baby steps, that would be great.
To tag on, I'm sorry, Patty.
No, it's fine.
I just want to tag on to that a little bit. If we also look at our school calendar, we traded, right, and we took our Monday holidays off. So there are a lot more Fridays that were in school this year. Not that, I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
it's a trade-off.
Yep.
And I know from my kids going to small schools for the past however many years, that it is a nightmare for a small school to schedule and with games just to get compatible teams, right, in the same class. In Cologne, we would have had to go to Buffalo and Bison to get our 20 games in. And back and forth, and I know Mr. Conant, you're a coach, so you know this as well as Keely does. So I know that from a parent standpoint as well, and there were some nights we were on the road till midnight 1, and they were back up into school the next day. So I know it's really hard for small schools and the consolidation factors that everybody's dealing with. Plus you add in our Friday schools now, there's gonna be a little bit more of a loss. However, back to Keely's policy of the student athlete, I think that's where that's made up. That's that expectation. And I think that, by the way, I love this and I haven't yet seen you to read it. That's fabulous. I think that the expectation is set. And when the expectation is set, then that's how, you know what I'm saying? That that loss of learning won't impact those kids when they know that that's the expectation.
Yep.
Because when I was in high school, we had to make up the word before we left. Instead of making it up when we got back. So we have ways in school of helping her out with that too. So anyway, I just want to.
But this is from a farmer standpoint, but I don't mind getting back home at 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday.
Right.
Cause it's teaching kids lessons, like you will be in school the next day and you won't be sleeping.
Nope.
I mean, heifers don't stop calving at 8 at night. So.
now that our attendance policy was actually had to be on school on time game day and the next day.
Yep.
And if you didn't play the next game.
Yep.
And I mean, that could be something I had too, but it's just, because I think some of our kids do abuse that next game day.
Yep.
You don't come to school on time, on the game after the day after a game.
I like it.
But you'll still leave it at 8 AM, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 10 minutes.
But back to Patty's statement though, when we did switch to 4-day, that was the statement, was that most games be played Thursday, Friday, Saturday for scheduling. And then another thing was that there were gonna be a lot of Buff Fridays. How many Buff Fridays are scheduled into the calendar this week?
We don't have them anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, we made that decision. Yep.
And
And on Patty's side too, that we're cut down on substitute teachers. Because if we play a double header in the block, then we have to leave for a year.
Yeah,
And it's hard to get started.
yeah.
But it's hard to schedule games too, I guess. So I see both, I mean, it's tough. It
It
is
is.
really tough.
What about, the only question I had was the weekly absence limitations. I know we want to keep everybody down to 1 day, and I agree with that. How hard do you think this is gonna be to implement as far as? I don't see too many issues with basketball, football obviously is not an issue, but like,
Spring,
yeah,
because they're full day events,
yeah,
and we had teachers gone all day,
right,
school teachers gone all day, so we really don't have subs in the spring.
yeah,
So that's more so, I don't know what this will look like.
yeah,
Honestly, without going through a year of it.
sure. I totally get why we're doing it.
What's it read?
Basically, your teacher coaches can't be absent from school for more than a school day.
Yeah.
And per week. Obviously, there's exceptions like we have state tournaments, so
Right.
multiple days, you're obviously gone.
Yeah.
That would be an exception. And then we have, certain staffing issues where, with our sports, like if you're taking fewer than 10 athletes, there shouldn't be coaches going.
Yeah.
Especially if they're in district coaches, so
Yeah,
only one coach would go with that group of 10, to their event.
That's kind of hard though, so I'm just gonna say, on a track meet, you said a sprinter and a thrower, you're gonna send one coach? Or a jumper and a thrower, you know what I mean, like. I'm just throwing it out there.
This is. That one honestly is more at golf.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So I'm just saying, cause we had a couple track meets where we only took a handful of kids.
Yeah.
yeah, the golf was kind of unique this year because there wasn't a girls team.
No,
Yeah.
they're all middle schoolers.
Yeah.
Not ready for the next level yet.
And prior administrative approval, that would give some leeway if we do have some unique situations.
Got rained out for 3 weeks in a row.
Weather, yeah.
Yeah.
or could-
And that's in there.
schedule.
That's in there where, there's discretion to the situation.
Yeah, you had no, didn't you?
I'm good.
Anything else on activities?
Just that I'm gonna charge people if they lose their uniforms.
Good.
I have a track one at my house. He wants it for senior pictures anyways.
That's fine,
$25.
but
Take it up.
I have 4 pieces of middle school boys basketball uniforms missing and one that got completely destroyed, so I wish I would have had this policy last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
How often, I was gonna ask this, but I was curious when I read the surplus list, how often do we rotate uniforms? Like, there's a schedule, I
Yeah.
assume? Is it the
about every
same
4 years.
about every 4 years?
Yep. Middle school's a little different, those will last a little longer.
There was, how many volleyball that was surplus that were how old?
Oh my God, the basketball closet, the girls' basketball closet, I just ripped out 7 boxes of stuff we don't need.
There was a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. You can go down the girls' locker room and look at all the stuff. It's all down there. That we're surplusing. So, yeah, every 4
You're
years.
gonna have a big garage sale.
Right in my garage sale.
Mhm.
No.
Let me know when that is, because I want some of it.
And we'll have it the parent athlete meeting night. Okay. I'm just gonna get it all laid out on the gym floor and.
Is it gonna be an auction? No.
Bring in Brian.
They'll give for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I cleaned out and I also took a good day and cleaned out the football and boys basketball and I think I threw out a lot of stuff. And I texted pictures and I said, I want this to look like this always. Now that it's clean, so. We have a lot of stuff that we don't need.
all right, well, thank you, Keely.
Yep.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adopt the following supplemental budget resolution? Resolution, number 9-2025, let be resolved, the school board of the Stanley County School District number 57-1, in accordance with SDCL 13-11-3.2 and after duly considering the proposed supplemental budget, hereby approves and adopts the following supplemental budget in total. To capital outlay 21-2549-000350, $770,300 from capital outlay fund balance, $770,300. First by Jess,
Second.
second by Shirley. Any discussion?
This is exactly like what we did in May. I think it was just for the auditors to have something for our budget.
Okay.
This is for the track, if you didn't know.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Open meeting laws.
I'm not sure, I'll be honest, I'm not sure what this is. And you can see the email from Rob Munson. As we approach July 1, I wanted to send out the following information and targeting emailing the event you are wanting to cover this at your July board meetings. Basically, it says they're waiting for the Attorney General's office to present something to them that at some point during the year, you'll have to cover the material put out by open meetings. And I talked to a few other business managers and they said they were just gonna attach this 4-page question and answer thing that we've got attached to the one. Here it is, it's pretty gray right now. I'm not sure what they're trying to get to, but we needed to discuss it, I guess. And do you guys get the emails from Rob Munson?
I don't get it.
How about Tyler Pickman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tyler's emailed something out of it.
Yeah, super.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. I'll bring more once we get more from the Attorney General's office, I guess.
Okay.
I'll just keep you guys updated on what it is. Yes.
I feel like there was some legislation this year, and I'm having trouble recalling exactly the content, but I feel like the gist of it was to clarify
Okay.
some gray areas about what constitutes a violation. And I think the main thing was maybe if it's scheduling, like if you send something to all 5 of us to try and schedule a meeting and we all turn back and forth about dates, something like that maybe is not, but any, I think it was maybe kind of a clarifying thing to say what exactly is allowed for communication between us outside of, but maybe they're talking about something different. I don't know.
And that would make sense. Okay. And that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Admin report. Desi, you're up.
Interesting. We've been busy. So I would like to start off with some thank yous. So Tyler, thank you so much for everything this year. Appreciate it. Ms. Hahn is working at home, at school, behind the scenes on the personal learning plans and the credit audit for us so that we are ready to go. That is labor intensive because it literally is an audit of every kid in those grades and the classes they've taken. So thank you for doing that and your continued appreciation. Keely and I had a great meeting yesterday, kind of hashed a bunch of things out. I appreciate her pulse on the building, and so I really will use her a lot. Plus, I found out she's almost an administrator, so she can help. Sarah, thank you for your tech stuff this week, printing and all that business. I appreciate that. And Mrs. Milliken, I gotta take her out for steak supper or something, cause or maybe a couple. Anyway, thank you, everybody. So in service, Mr. Connett and I, and I don't wanna, whatever you have, Mr. Connett, let me know and I don't talk about it. In service, we have a rough schedule put together. We're confirming some things still. So I presented an idea to Mr. Conant with Stanley County School District Leadership Team. And this team fits right in with the goals that Mr. Baldwin has talked to us about recently. And also with culture and trust and accountability and things like that. So I have confirmed the members of this team as of today. They've all agreed. Mrs. England, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Conant, myself, Miss Jen. We've got a person from each school, and Mrs. Johnson can attend all the time or whenever via Zoom or however she wants to do that. She's definitely our contact out there. I don't want to leave her out, so.
Yep.
You know, so the idea behind this team is that any student issue, any staff issue, whether it's positive, negative, or otherwise, that is coming up would come to those people. And then that group of people meets once a month and we work through those things. Not that we don't handle those day-to-day things too, but this helps us deal with systemic issues or problems that we see a bigger scope of, or positive things that we see that are happening that we want to expand. And I just think that this will go a long ways in building trust with our staff in leadership. And then we can filter that up.
Yep.
So that's the idea behind that. And it was very well received by Mr. Conant, thank you. And the teachers that I asked to be on it, they were very happy. So that was confirmed as of today. The high school, so as I said, we've met with Mrs. Hahn. Ms. Hahn, she's working on that. And we added the notes about the credits, the personal learning plans, but I'm sorry it wasn't in there, but
Oh, no, that's fine.
that is coming. Met with Ms. Braceland, as I said, have a meeting scheduled, or, well, we did, but Avera didn't show up today. So Ms. Hahn and I and, Ms. Ballmer have a meeting coming up with Avera about the CNA class, just to iron all those details out. We will be having, I also spoke with the South Dakota Department of Ed regarding our CTE classes and our teachers and how we have those registered, because the names of our classes have to be specific in order to qualify for certain things. So we're checking those. We will be having a math meeting next Tuesday at 10. And that includes anywhere from elementary to high school. And the purpose of that is planning for the Pathways to Proficiency class and kind of setting up our math department with a flow through, right, of where we want to be. And I am not a math expert, so I'm asking the ones that are, Mrs. Herr, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Foth, who am I missing? Doherty, thank you, Mrs. Doherty. And we're all gonna come together and we're gonna put a plan in place for those kiddos, those juniors and seniors that lost their opens based on their Smarter Balance scores. So that they begin to see some value in the class and that we can really plan for them and look individually at their personal learning plans to see, okay, is this student not tracking for college? Do they have other plans, right? Is improving their grade as a senior going to improve their ability to move on, right? And individualize is the best way, and the other thing that we're gonna look at is how we plan our math classes, because if you take 8th grade Algebra 1, your freshman year should be required to take geometry, then sophomore is Algebra 2. And that will help our math scores, because right now, we're not requiring that. So they're kind of all over the place, and then our math scores drop and our ACT scores drop because they go gaps without taking algebra.
Yep.
So, long story short, anyway, or short story long. We'll be doing that same thing with the ELA department. One of the things that we will be doing, a popular request from staff and students both, is we're returning our Tatanka time to be meeting time for NHS, prom, graduation, all of those kinds of things, and also homeroom meetings. And that will be partially where we talk about those adulting life skills with the phones. Also how to deal with conflict resolution, making a request of a teacher and accepting no. And I'm really excited for that piece. So we're gonna role play. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a ride. And I might ask all of you to come in and help. You can be bosses or you can be the employees too. School secretary meeting, Mr. Connor and I have that set up for tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, just so we can be lined out and they can tell us how to run the school. Because that's what happens, right? And then special education, end of the year reports are done, ESY has started, I'm already plotting my calendar for next year. And we will be, I'm so happy to say this, we will be using the HMH curriculum in the SPED department K-8. So that's all I got. Thank you very much.
I got one question, Brett.
Sure.
So the CTE classes, we did not have them named correctly, right?
Well, here's what happened. I will say that most of them are named correctly. I think we missed one or two.
Okay,
And the difference is we cannot have ag in our CTE class name because we don't have an ag teacher.
okay,
So, for example, a welding class that was like advanced ag metal fabrication.
Yep.
We can have the class, we just have to change it to a manufacturing track as opposed to an ag track.
gotcha.
It's really just in the paperwork. Yes, Ms.
Can I
Harmon?
add something? Also the CTE grant that we took for our welding equipment and
Yes.
our simulator has to have these CTE classes.
Yes.
So that was one thing that we couldn't roll out last spring, but we got the okay from the state because they were transitioning their transportation CTE. So we got okay to roll out the transportation CTE in the fall, but we have to have a CTE label. So that means teacher, everything. Otherwise we'll end up paying that back and we don't.
Gotcha.
So,
We're also formulating, did you say CDL or CTE?
well, the CDL, CTE.
CDL,
The CDL,
that's also in works too, but I didn't have enough of an update to
Yep.
include that on there. I just figured I'd confuse everybody, including myself, so I didn't include that on there.
Love the leadership team idea.
Thank you.
So I had clarified it.
Okay.
We do currently have a CDL trainer.
We do not have a certified, we do not have a CDL holding teacher to teach the book part of that class
Okay,
at this very moment. Now, that is not to say that we haven't met with Lake Area. We have contacted them to set up a meeting in the next week or two. I have also, my family is a trucking family, so, and I know several of them, so I actually put a call out to my brother and to some farmer friends that, about anybody that holds a CDL that would like to come in and teach the book part, 1 or 2 days a week. And then we can do the simulator 2 days a week, but that is all just thoughts.
Mhm.
So please do not hold me to that. That is all just brainstorming.
Yep.
So,
if we can get Lake Area Tech again, they were the instructor.
yes,
correct.
So
Yes.
not, I mean,
But
in
we
the
have to-
absence of Kurt.
Yep.
He doesn't hinder our CDL
Right,
class
okay.
right now. So like, if we can still get that contact with Lake Area Tech back, then we'll
Okay.
go on this.
and that is awesome. But obviously we know that learning from person is
100%.
better than learning over the
Yep.
computer. So that is our goal, but if it doesn't work, we've got it backed up.
Yep.
So that's, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Nicole.
So then I have a question, reference, you spoke about in-service and the question isn't actually for you, it's for Mr. Baldwin. Oh. We had discussed a year ago about, seeing if the gentleman that we all heard, well, not we all, but those of us who went to convention,
Mhm.
and I have yet to understand where we are with that gentleman.
Very expensive.
Okay, can you be more explicit than very expensive?
8,000.
8,000, and have we visited with other school districts about sharing him?
Yes, yeah, it's
Who did we visit with?
the Region 3, Lyman, Jones County, Oneida.
Okay,
Most of them had calendars out prior to us. But I'm sure, and then, Head Start, again, we teamed up with them one time, so see
mhm.
if we can work something out there too. But, we only spend 2 or 3 on a speaker.
So I hadn't heard, or we hadn't heard, so that's what I'm asking specific.
Yeah, no, and really what I'd like to do is get that, time our calendars together so we can have an in-service day together with everybody.
Mhm. Would that be difficult for you to? I suppose it's difficult to do if we don't have our calendars made.
Yeah, like we were late, a lot of people had calendars done way before we did too, so. But, he did reach out, I know there was something that came out, he's gonna be in town or in the state, late August, and if anyone's interested, and I just got that recently too, so maybe there's a discount, cause these are. There was a day, so I was here last year, you guys might remember me.
Right,
I've come to a few schools, if anybody interested. And so I can reach out to
I
them.
appreciate that. If you just, he was very
He
good.
was good, yeah.
Our staff probably needs to hear something.
Yeah,
Like that.
I'll see, maybe I can get a discount there.
Okay,
'cause he's
if you please get back to us, then I don't have to ask that question again.
Yeah, you betcha.
I
Alright.
just wanted to say really quickly, I'm excited to hear everyone is on top of the credit checks. When I worked here, we had 3 people every year go through them, and I just feel like it just really helps make sure everyone is on track. And with that, and I know this is probably partly your job, and I know you kind of do it, but I've always felt like there's kids who could be regional scholars if we just informed them and more importantly, informed their parents, because no kid really wants to take a 4th year of science, but you know, if they, I mean, that's something you put on your resume forever. If you can get the ACT, that's real money for college. And so all for lack of a science class. So I would encourage you to just be as educational as you can with the parents and see if we can't get some more kids getting that award.
So
Yeah,
neither
that's a plan.
Nicole or I are actors, but we're gonna be doing some video about, for,
Yeah.
up on the Facebook site to like the free and reduced lunch thing.
Mhm.
We're gonna, one of us is gonna be the parent, one of us is gonna be the teacher, and we're gonna be like, what the heck?
I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was that.
Well,
But-
About that, don't I?
We got information. We have to roll away.
But we did talk about doing videos like that, little vignettes that we could put on the Facebook page or put on the website for parents and and send it out to the kids too. And also utilize our school reach a little bit more. What was the one we were gonna send out for high school? Oh, it was the CNA class, because we only have 6 kids like right now enrolled. And I think it's just a lack of knowledge or awareness.
For sure.
Right.
So we were gonna send out a school reach call.
Good idea.
It was gonna go after today, but that's not gonna happen. So, we're gonna send a school reach call to all 9 through 12 parents and families so that they get that. And we in the high school, and I know Mr. Conant in elementary and the middle school, we would like to utilize that a little bit more often to kind of boost interest and awareness. Instead of just for late school starts. Yeah, because we don't have any.
But, no, it's
Kidding. Kidding.
the personal learning plan. The personal learning plan and transcripts take forever, just
Yeah.
because, like, I did the 9th graders already today.
Yeah.
It took me probably 4.5 hours to do like 30 kids, because it's, you know, oh, there's an error in this transcript, so I'm writing it down so we can have it corrected. There, on the back of the audit, there is a place for a student to sign and a parent to sign, so
Yeah.
Desi and I had visited. I'm gonna be meeting with 9th through 12th graders twice a year. And then after those meetings, the goal is to get every parent notified that this is what we talked about. This is what they're, you know, because we know sometimes parents have a study schedule more than kids, because kids might come in and say, I would take a 4th year math. And their parent might say, this is the only class you're lacking. And we found that a lot last year, which they only missed it by a science course, you know, and
It's
so.
always the science course, because you've got to have 4 math for us to graduate, or at least you did when I worked here, but you don't have to have 4 science.
And it has to be for lab science.
Right.
So then-
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's just, did they change it? I thought it was just 3
I
lab.
thought it had to be lab, but I will
Maybe.
double check.
Yeah, they might have changed.
So it's just that, I'll figure that out before I do it, but just making sure that the
Me
kids don't.
too. Yeah, I always needed to take kids who had GPA and everything, and they just missed 1 class.
Yeah, absolutely, so.
And we put it in the student handbook that there's what's in the personal learning plan part, which you don't have, I'm sorry, that they do have to meet with her twice a year, so that, everybody, 9 through 12 has to meet with Ms. Hahn twice a year.
Career planning.
Yes. For planning and just organization for us and for them, so, and for families.
Perfect. You're up.
Awesome. Glad you got the memo. We could dress like each other today. So I don't have a copy of board notes. We got new computers and I couldn't. It was a thing. So I was like, all right, now I gotta.
I like the notebook.
I gotta, yeah. So I wrote them all down handwritten. You know,
That'll
looks
never fail.
great. I tried my best. Even spelled everything right, and I was gonna go make copies. When I got to the copy machine, I remember my high school basketball coach, he retired my senior year, 2013. He coached 31 years and he did everything there, scouting reports. He would have these itineraries for everything we went on, all handwritten. You couldn't read them worth the crap. And so then I remember like sitting there in the locker room, like, when I'm a coach, I'm never, ever gonna give anybody anything handwritten because it's stupid. You couldn't read it. So I didn't make copies for you guys. So I'm sorry about that, but it's not, I mean, Desi really hit off, you know, we've been working together on like seriously everything, a lot of meetings and whatnot, so. Just trying to pick up the pieces and, you know, check off the boxes that we have. Number one is the scheduling for things, just duties before school, after school, lunch duties. And then, you know, class times, everything. I think I remember I went in a couple months ago in executive session and one of you guys asked me what my least favorite part of the job was. I don't even remember what my answer is, but I got a new answer. And that is spreadsheets. I really hate spreadsheets. I suck at them, you know that. That's like a crash course. I'm like,
He learned a lot.
that's, book, I was like, that's like text box. I'd be all becoming a waste, but I hate it. Not my thing, not my strength.
Yeah, it's good.
But we're figuring it out. So, but yeah, working on class times, making sure we get all the minutes. We're adding a few tweaks. I know in the elementary, one thing I'd like to, or two things I'd like to add is get computers back in. Now that we have you, more available and freed up, you can teach some computers in elementary, but I think it's important. One thing that we are lacking. And then getting counseling back. I mean, just being more consistent with it and getting that like scheduled in there. So, I think we found some times there. With that schedule in the elementary. Looking at the middle school, high school, I talked to Sheila Jones, our lunch lady, and she had a good solution. One of the things that we ran into last year in the middle school is like some of them were late because there's so many of them, and they came in after the high school, so a lot of them missed some crucial time minutes in the classroom because they were late. Her idea and her solution was to switch it back. So apparently middle school was before the high school for lunch times. And then if they were, because there's so many more, because most of the high school kids go on to eat somewhere else, but, so her idea, her thinking, and I agree with her, I think that if the middle school goes first, the kids that are late can stay and eat with the high school kids. And then so that, you know, they're not late to their core classes, because that would be the Tatanka homeroom time. If they have a committee, they can just grab their lunch and go finish there, I guess. And then like, she has some other reasons too, as far as like seconds, high schoolers never got seconds because, or middle schoolers, yes, because they had to restrict the high schoolers. So the middle schoolers had enough type of deal. So we kind of flip flop this year. So we're going to look at that. I haven't like officially changed it on the schedule yet, but. Sorry. It's spreadsheet.
It's already changed.
There you go. So that's a go. That's what we're doing. Desi hit on Tatanka time and how we kind of reformatted that and our vision for that and our plan for that. So I'm not going to speak on that. Second thing I want to talk about, I'm really excited about is forming a literacy team here in the elementary. We had a team of teachers head to Sioux Falls at the beginning of June for a literacy conference. Moving forward with literacy, the framework that South Dakota is pushing very hard. They came to me with all the information. I thought it was great. So I've just been diving into the books. They got me the manual, trying to figure out all this. I got a team put together with our elementary teachers, and hopefully we can meet at the end of July, get everybody together, and we can move forward with that. Things I'd like to do there. The end of July meeting is come up with like a vision. You know, what's our vision for our school here as far as our literacy goes? Write down some goals, like this is what we're aiming for. And then, develop some kind of comprehensive reading plan as we move forward. It's something that's going to take some time. Book I'm reading says change in a school, in a public school, typically change there is 3 to 8 years. It's a long time down the road. But it's something that I think is worth investing in, and sticking to that plan. One thing I think just this year that we're going to be looking at is like kind of that universal instruction. We got the curriculum. Now let's make sure that, our lesson plans and everybody's doing the same thing in the right order that's suggested. Douglas is a great example. They're the ones that spoke at the conference. Hopefully going to make some connections and network. Just talking to people that have done it. We're kind of, it's not a big deal. Trying to be kind of the front end of it, kind of be the pioneers of this whole situation here so that we can be one of the schools someday, speaking at a conference and kind of laying out what our plan is. Hopefully we can document everything and hopefully we see some changes. I think it's worth it. I think we've got a good plan. I think we've got a really good team to do it. So really excited about that. I'll keep you updated on how everything goes there. Third thing, just planning professional development in August, trying to get everything scheduled there. We met as an admin team. We got to pencil in. It's just kind of confirming times for people that we have coming in the trainings. We got our committee set as far as how we want to do with that, with our PLCs. She already talked about the building leadership team, and I think it's going to be great for us as well. Final thing is just met with the new teachers coming in. We got their badges, computers, keys, things like that. So and then our new ones, get them on the state mentorship program, and the ones that we knew last year continue in that state mentorship program, which I think is really important. Something I've done and something I'm an advocate of. So yeah, that's all I got. But so thank you guys.
Thank you. Keely, do you have anything?
We're surplusing a whole bunch of items. We're gonna have a garage sale for that. We have our parent athlete meeting, which is August 5th, I think I said, 6:30 here in Parkview. We're off of moratorium, but back into the weight room and open gyms, as you can hear, for this week. Yeah, just track and field progress, and I have some things up my sleeve that I wanna do this year, with our programs continues, so, and looking on that this summer. We gotta do some things safety committee wise with our facilities, with emergency action plans that the state is requiring now. Be working on those and, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, you guys have had these already, if you want hard copies. Here's the school board tips and then, report, so gold program, you guys, the good news there, so, yep, we'll keep you updated, Julie Batison and, the Boys and Girls Club will keep me up to speed on that, so obviously I'll let you know ASAP. Whatever's coming there, okay? Derek talked about the wood carving, board member tips, and there's a 60-page handout where I got a lot of this from, if you care to ever look at that. Just trying to a few things, you know, really, the bottom line there is that we wanna, you know, do all you can. If you're in doubt, send those calls to me and I'll get them to the right avenue. And we would really wanna work on a, you know, public supporting and as she said, it trickles up, it also trickles down. So we all are in this together about building our culture. Teamwork, gosh, you could hear it tonight. Those are all plans that we prepped and talked about, and we're gonna have a lot of frequent meetings. I walked in as they were carving up the handbooks and it was really neat to breath of fresh air to sit down with the three of them. We'll do everything we can to keep everything transparent. We'll share all our meetings. We'll share what we're doing. We're thinking of having outlines that, you know, here's what the last meeting was, here's what we talked about, and get that to the staff ahead of time. And so they'll have visuals of everything we're doing. Chamberlain's coming up, that, like I say there, it's a beginning of the year superintendent meeting. This is what really inspired me. Principals are one thing, but there's hundreds of those principals and superintendents. There's only 160 of us in the state. And so we really need each other. And, I felt that the first time I went to one of those. And that's where I get a lot of the information, like, you know, it's a great time to network about the speaker again and stuff like that. So, and then August, of course, I know Shirley and Desi are planning to attend the joint conference there. And that's similar to the Chamberlain one where it's for everybody. It's all administrators, school board, we're all get on board. And that's where we heard that speaker, and I'll continue to follow up. Other than that, Capital Journal today, that was exciting that they called me. I'm glad to build a bridge there with Capital Journal. Yep. Some of the video things we're talking about I'm excited. It's great. We can always hit a refresh button every year. That's the beauty of a school, and it's time to do that, so.
I have a couple of questions from last month.
Yeah.
You were going to check on the language for the policy reference, buildings, quote unquote, for child molesters. Remember that?
Yeah,
conversation?
yeah.
What did you find out?
Yeah, it really is in our jurisdiction. Like, the bottom line there is, and I even that, you know, the bottom line there is we have that same thing, even across the street, we have it in our school. May include but not limited to, so I did reference this with the attorney. And he says really it's up to law enforcement if you have an issue with, we would decide if they're okay to be here regardless of if they daycare across the street or not. Because we have the kindergarten, elementary, maybe the kids who are here. So that was his stance on that, but near daycare versus we already have facilities in our school, that doesn't make any difference on this policy.
My question is, are we following the statute or not? Are we, because statute says they have to be within X distance.
Yeah, so
So he determined that we are within the law
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that's what I want.
Well, yeah, cause we would, case by case, we would make those determinations if, when we're aware of them,
It would be up to the district to determine.
if we're allowing them in school. So I'm saying the daycare across the street really doesn't have an impact on this. It is our school and the jurisdiction in our school. And it would, once we have a sex offender, we would determine what is appropriate.
And they're leaving up to the individual district? Is that what I'm hearing? you say?
Within our school, yeah, we wouldn't concern ourselves with an outside daycare. That would be law enforcement. We would make sure that they're in the confines of our
Okay.
school.
Okay, I
and-
think I'm understanding what you're
Yeah.
saying to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, the survey results, you were gonna bring the survey
Oh,
results?
yeah, I can send them to you as soon as.
Well, I think the whole board probably wants to. see
Yeah,
them.
I mean, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's always us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I got that.
if you would please send that out.
Yep, I've got those. I can do that right after this.
Okay,
So are we ready to bring that policy for second reading next month?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I
I do
just
have-
wondered.
I do have a question for you too. So Ty and I spoke about the ASBSD conference.
Yep.
And I would love to go to it. I would urge Ty to go to it. It's a great opportunity, but we're both. Harvest is so late this year that we are gonna be flirting with being done or not being done.
Yeah.
And we're both not gonna shut down the combines for that. But what's the penalty if we did actually sign up for it and then last second not be able to do it?
No penalty, just if you can't the room in time and.
We'd just be out the money, I mean, out the $200 or like $235.
There isn't a return, like you can't get your money.
What I've done in the past is you could register there.
Okay,
Sometimes I've reserved a room just to have a room.
Yep.
If I'm tentative on something, and then you always get that 24-hour notice, cancel your room.
Yep.
But registration, sometimes I've gone to a conference and then registered when I got there.
oh,
I mean,
really?
because they're gonna take you.
Right, they're not-
We can, yeah, and we can register you late, this is like an
Yeah.
extra $45 or something.
Yeah, we can just late
I think
register.
July 9th or July 15th is the cutoff for the sheet, and then
Okay.
it just goes up like $45.
okay,
So that would be the way to go if you're not sure.
okay. Cause I would like to go. I learned a lot from her last year. But more about her than the conference, but.
yeah, by now you think you.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
go ahead.
Kate, I have some questions for you. The new election law. Where that says we have to determine, and I think we have supposed to take a vote. Are we going to have our elections in, we have a choice, November or June, but they're recommending June. How do we decide that?
We set the date at the January meeting.
Now, you have to have this done, I think, post haste. I read it I read it on something. It came from it came from Pickner, I think.
I just assumed we were gonna have them in June, I guess.
Okay,
If you guys wanna have it in November, that would be.
no, we don't want it in November,
Okay,
but the new law says you have to make a determination. You have to make that decision when you're gonna do it, either November or June, and then I think you're supposed to stick with it, yes.
okay. Because in the past, we always voted on that in January.
Yeah, but I believe, if I'm not wrong, we're supposed to.
We have to
decide
do it now.
I'm pretty sure. Can you look that up?
Pickner?
I can't remember, I can look it up my own self too. But it's one or the other.
Does it have to be done at the July meeting?
I don't remember. I don't, you're the business manager.
I don't know. Yeah, I apologize. I just. thought
No, that's
we
okay.
Always do it in June.
We can, somebody quick look. You guys out there looking it up. Next question. The rest of you board members, I have a question for you. Do any of you take advantage of the sessions that Associated School Boards puts out that Pickner says, hey, we have this?
I want to, but I feel like you need a password. Do we have a school password?
I don't know. I'm asking the process. He's busy. What is the process?
I'm sorry.
Okay. What is the process for signing up for the little webinars or whatever they are that South Dakota school board association puts out.
Yeah, you could just click online and do that.
But they have to be paid for.
Yeah, maybe we give us a heads up that you're gonna do that, or just,
Or they charge for it.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
It's like
like,
$35. If you wanna do them, just let me know.
Yeah.
is that all it takes?
yeah.
Okay,
And then they'll build a school and we'll pay.
okay.
Yeah. And just give us heads up. So-
I'm sorry, I'm looking up the ASBSD election.
Are you finding it?
Okay, uh-oh, what's going on outside? There goes our football.
Geez, it looks white.
Yeah, we're under a thunderstorm
Yeah,
warning.
okay.
so.
Okay.
And then- Hang
I'll
on,
find both of
Okay.
those and get them to you tonight.
all right, and then one other question. Do all the school board members get the KSB, blurbs that they put out?
I don't get it.
I have no idea where or like how you started getting it.
Yeah, I know.
I signed up for it. I signed up for it when I went to their conference 4 years ago.
No.
Okay. You guys want me just to forward it to you?
Sure.
There's a lot of good information on there. They have a work sense of humor, but, well, they do they
That
not?
helps.
We as a district have subscribed to the KSBS law or KSB law, video vignette.
Yeah.
So, Tyler sends out a login cover day for his office, cause like I have one from the SPED conference. And our district was already a member of that. I didn't, so that's something that, which is, I think what you're talking about.
Yes, but not the videos. I get it in script form.
Okay, got it.
And it says, okay, here's a new law, guys.
Yeah.
South Dakota, you better watch yourselves.
Yep.
And maybe that's where it came from, Mr. Gabriel. I'll have to look. I will look.
So
That
that,
was my
Election law,
law,
you mean?
the election law.
I bet that's where he got it from, because they put it, every time there's a new law, they put a little video or a little PowerPoint about
I'll
that.
just forward it, you guys.
Sounds good.
Okay, got it. I've been getting them for years. They were tools I used against the board once upon a time. I think I got some smart.
All right, do you have any other questions?
Well, I do, but I'll wait. No, you go ahead.
Okay, so
Alright.
ASBSD strongly suggests your district communicate with your district's county auditor prior to setting your school board election date. If your district normally sets your election date at your organization meeting in July, we suggest communicating with your district's county auditor right away or delaying the setting of your district school board election date until you have contacted them. And we set ours in January.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we're good.
Yeah.
Alright.
And I just assumed we're gonna keep it in June with the county and the city, if the city
For sure.
chooses to combine.
You only have 2 dates to pick from.
Yeah, it's June or November.
Yeah,
Yep, and they have the dates already on here, November 3rd, 2026, or June 2nd, 2026.
mm-hmm.
All right. Can I get a motion to amend Desiree Lepke's contract to include $12,000 stipend for 9/12 principal for the 2025-2026 school year? First by Jeff,
Second.
second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve Chance Prince, Kyle Stoddard, Sawyer Dowling, Luke Dowling, and Michelle Cole as volunteers for the 2025-2026 school year?
I move.
First by Patty,
No, yeah, they're all got little kids.
second by Jess. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve open enrollment application number 5725261015 and 5725261017. First by Jess. Second by Ty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to deny open enrollment application 5725260016? First by Jess,
Second.
second by Shirley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to adjourn? By Patty, second by Jess. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are out at 8:29.